Welcome back to RBR, guys, and we all knew it was coming. The great big design reset for BMW, aka the Neue Klasse, and this is the first one, the BMW iX3, obviously an electric version of the X3, but this is with an all-new retro-inspired face, a massively different interior to what we're used to, and all of this set to roll out on every single BMW in the future. Now, BMW cited this as their most important transformation since the old original Neue Klasse cars back in the 1960s. Cars that then saved BMW back then and created legends like the BMW 2002. And of course, that's where they're bringing this design in from as well. So this is kind of a big deal, this car, for BMW. And this SUV is the blueprint then. So an all new platform, new electrical architecture, a whole new interior, and a design that's going to then flush across every single BMW in the future. And this is the first model, the iX350 xDrive. Some headline figures for you guys in terms of range. We're talking 500 miles WLTP, so we know it's going to be a little bit under that. Horsepower wise, 469 horsepower, 0 to 60 of 4.9 seconds, all coming from an 800 volt electrical architecture system that allow you to get 230 miles out of 10 minutes of charging in the best case scenario. So today, guys, the plan is to break down the design, particularly comparing it to our current ICE X3. Then we will check out the radically different interior, what comes inside it, what the plan is for that in the future. Of course, I'll break down the motors, the battery tech, and tell you what this new Gen 6 motor and technology is all about. And then finally, we will also discuss what this means for future cars that we actually probably care more about, like the all-new 3 Series. So guys, let's dive in and check out this, the first Neue Klasse BMW, and that is the new iX3. So guys, in the model world, there's hardly an app, a website, or any digital interaction we have where it's not trying to hoard your data, whatever that reason is, whether it's profiling you or trying to tailor things toward you or actually sell your data on. Our sponsor today is Incogni, and they're a returning sponsor to RBR. And over the last few months, they have helped me erase my data from the internet. And that's something I want to help you guys with as well, because I'm a very private person, particularly when it comes to my data. And as it stands, your data is very likely out there, your personal information. In some countries, your addresses, information about your family, your financial history, a full profile about who you are. And there are data brokers out there who take that information and then sell it on, which isn't just wrong, but it can be dangerous for you as well. Luckily, Incogni are here to help. They know where to look for your data, and they take the job on for you, sending takedown requests, and they even have a custom removal feature where you can ask them if there's a website that you suspect or somewhere where you find your data, and you can send a custom removal and they will send a request to have that taken down. Particularly, I've seen it being used, and I get regular updates every month about my profile and the progress that's being made on it, which is really good to know. So guys, take back control of your privacy. Remember, if they can't find you, then they can't harm you. Use the link incogni.com/remove or use the code remove for a great deal. A huge thanks to Incogni for once again supporting RBR and to you guys for supporting our regular sponsors. Let's get back to the car. So guys, just an FYI, I couldn't attend the filming on this occasion, so instead I brought the car to you, all in a day's work, 4 hours. Now let's first talk about design, which is the most important topic. This is the Neue Klasse design, and damn, that is one chunky mama. Particularly when you compare it to the current X3, which I didn't like initially, but I think is a really handsome car, like I said to you guys, and this is just significantly different, isn't it? You've got a lot of bulk on the front. Yes, you have that retro-inspired front end. You look at the sides, very aerodynamic, those kind of EV lines. A lot of glass, which is quite normal for BMW SUVs, which is okay. But yeah, quite the culture shock when you first look at it, even though we've been expecting this for a number of years now. Comparing it again to that current X3, you notice it's a bit longer, like 2 inches longer. Wheelbase is thus longer as well, and all the usual EV yada yada thing about more interior space, boot space, we'll get onto that later. It's wider by 1 inch as well, but it's a bit shorter by 1.2 inches. So overall, I think the point I'm trying to make here, this is quite a significantly different car to our current X3. It doesn't look like a car that will be sold alongside it for that long, because this looks like it's a car that's really been bought from the future. Now the elephant in the room, let's talk about the front end. First of all, the grille. Yes, retro inspired by the Neue Klasse cars of old, but actually very different in its application. This is the iconic glow grille. So we have the big black center surrounded by the sculpted light element, which is quite nice. There will be a non-iconic glow version, but we don't actually know what that looks like, and that will of course be standard. You've got your DRLs then on the side, the entire light bar links together, and those are vertical, kind of as you find in current BMWs as well, but all the more obvious in this. And then you've got another horizontal light that sits in between the grille and those bars. So this is the new BMW light graphic that they're going to be pushing on every single car, and kind of their signature going forward. Now, with all light bars come animations, of course. So these have welcome animations, we've got goodbye animations, and if you have iconic glow, you can choose 3 different types. So you've got relaxed, balanced, and excited, and they animate both on the front and on the rear of the car. And then one unique element of the front, we have got a frunk now, so a 48-litre frunk. What's quite interesting, it's got its own flap once you open the bonnet, which I haven't seen others do, and that helps even out a bit of the less boot space compared to the ICE one that we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, that's a nice little thing for storing your wires, etc. within there. Now, of course, this is the big talking point, this front end, and it's going to roll out to all BMWs later. And my opinions on this are coming, so hold on, let's talk about the rest of the design first. From the side, as I said, actually very BMW SUV looking. This is the side that's most like the current X3, I think, with your painted wheel arches with the very square look. You've got the dynamic cuts through the side, the big glass greenhouse that we're used to as well, and that kind of SAV look, as BMW like to call it. And then, of course, you've got wheels going from 20 up to 22 inch, really filling out the wheel arches as well. Almost kind of looks from the side like it's been cut from a single mold piece. That's not a bad thing, it's quite modern. And I think probably the side is one of my favorite bits of this car, because it's probably the most normal. Then it's got flush door handles for the first time, which extend automatically when you approach with the key. I kind of prefer the current Gen 1s, which I've lauded for being flush but not reliant on electric, so this for me a bit of a shame. We'll see what it's like to actually use. Now, another cool little hidden thing in here is the electric charging flap that, instead of having a button, is actually AI assisted. So apparently it will know when you want to bring a plug in to charge it, and it will probably close itself, etc. And all of this is done to make that whole charging process more seamless. And we will see if that is actually the case when we use it. Then the rear end, strong taper on the shoulder line. Main thing here is the full width L-shaped tail lights with a deep 3D effect, which is very, very alien to X3. You look at the normal X3, it's got that really X shape in the lights that it's always had across the generations. These, of course, are fully animated, lots of sculpture inside them, as I said, and they're not red when they're off, which actually is quite a cool look. And they sit alongside the BMW logo, thankfully a logo in itself and not something lighted or silly, and that sits within kind of a recess, which actually looks quite nice in the middle. Then we've got a new roof spoiler with the central recess for integrated aero, and then the boot. And the iX3 comes in at 520 litres, which is a modest 50 litres less than today's ICE X3, but fold your seats, and the iX3 actually has more, with one 750 versus 1700, which of course you would expect given the fact that the car is that much bigger. So we were all expecting this, but what do we actually think of it? My opinion is this. I think the grille is fine, but I think the light signatures kill it. I think if it had, they kind of don't work with the original concept of Neue Klasse. If it had the round lights, which are so iconic BMW, I know we got rid of them recently, but you could forgive the rest. If it had the round lights, to me it looks way better. It just does. Equally, if the grille was more metallic and less kind of glass-based, again, I think it would look better. Then I was expecting more sculpture within the front end, even looking at the spy shots. Like, I know it can't have bigger air intakes, etc., but I just expected more and less of a block. Let's be fair, this really does look like iX version 2, right? Which means some people, like Rory Reid, will be very happy. Me, not so much, because I was expecting a bit more BMW excitement on the front. And again, like I said with the rear doesn't have that X3 flavor to me, and again, just looks iX version 2, which maybe that was the point. Maybe that was the point, but I think actually that this whole thing will translate so much better on a saloon. So with that upcoming 3 Series, and indeed the 5er, which we know has already been tested already with this new look, I think it's going to match it more. My only worry with the 3 is that it's not going to have that big grille like this does. Like, I can't see it from the shots. So that might not be perfect either. Ooh, interesting times, interesting times. Let me know what you guys think of this design. I'd love to know. Now guys, let's get onto the tech. So the motors, the batteries, etc. And this, like I said, is Gen 6 BMW. So they've upgraded things to be right up on the top with everybody else in the market. And we begin with the platform itself, which is the BMW Neue Klasse EV first platform. So within this, we have a flat floor with the battery integrated into that, and thus we have a lot of spaciousness, etc. They made a big deal of zonal wiring, so a lot less wiring, which is more efficient, and a lot lighter, which is quite important. And like I said, this is an 800-volt architecture, so we're talking crazy quick charging speeds, theoretically on the fastest chargers of getting 230 plus miles within 10 minutes. Then we have the battery, which is one of the biggest usable batteries I've heard of recently. 108 usable kilowatts worth, which is why we're getting that massive range, of course. Uses a new battery tech, cylindrical battery cells, which have 20%, better energy efficiency within those. And then we come to the motors, where we have an electrically excited motor on our rear, which is the main one. It's the big one with most of the power. And this doesn't use rare earth magnets, and they say it's quicker and more efficient. So that's your main motor. And on the front, we have a smaller, more compact, lighter ASM motor, like a lot of manufacturers are doing, that only comes on when you really need it. And that rear motor, 10% lighter, and obviously more powerful, more efficient. So they're really, again, moving the game on. And it has BMW's dynamic performance control with 10 times faster torque vectoring for all of that. Then we've got the braking here, which is 98% capable via just the regeneration. And controlling all of that is a big update for the brain of the car. I should say the brains. 4 supercomputers, performance, super brains as they're calling it, controlling the driving itself, the self-drive, the infotainment and comfort features. These are 20% faster than today's ECUs, and again, they can be continually upgraded as well. So yeah, all of that should work out to quite a different feeling drive at the end, which we will see whenever we get to drive this. Now guys, let's talk about a bigger change than even the exterior, and that is the massive change on the inside of this car. Now the interior, again, big changes for all future BMW cars. We've got an all-new panoramic structure, as they're calling it, and it is impressive looking, with a real focus on materials, as you'll see. And this new panoramic iDrive system consists of 3 key components, and another one which is optional. So we have the BMW panoramic vision display, which spans the entire windscreen. This is very impressive looking. And then we have a driver-orientated, as they say, new design central display, tilting towards the driver, and a new multifunction steering wheel as well that we'll go into. And the optional one is the BMW 3D heads-up display. And we have new buttons on the steering wheel. These control the middle info in the panoramic screen, so directly in the middle of it. So you'll have to look to the side a little while using this, and it'll be interesting to see how safe that feels while driving. The wheel itself, I think, is kind of weird. It kind of looks like a bad Photoshop of the current wheel, where someone's added the lower spoke to the top as jokes. I'll wait to get it in hand, but I don't think BMW M customers especially are going to approve. Looking at the entire dashboard, very different. We've got a new style with a fabric finish and ambient light hidden behind it. We've got new metal style vents versus the hidden ones we've seen in 7 Series. There's also all new touch points and buttons everywhere, so like on that steering wheel. Then we have the seat controls and the windows with all new buttons. We have an all new drive selector integrated in the middle, which has got volume controls on the side of it as well. Shame we haven't got a traditional gear selector, which I've complained about for some time. Rear has a full bench, and BMW notes there's noticeably more legroom this time, even though they don't quantify it. Now at the heart of this system is a new OS, which is Operating System X, and it comes with a new voice assistant with 2 voice modes, natural language, proactive suggestions, etc., all the usual stuff, and a BMW avatar, which I've seen other manufacturers do now as well, much like Mercedes have done in the recent CLA, and this one kind of looks like a chibi Spider-Man to me. The main screen, they say, is driver focused, and the 0 layer at the bottom is the usual with the climate control and your main shortcuts. Your main view is navigation with suggestions up top, and then other widgets that you use underneath that. You can pull down for your usual shortcuts and also customize the widgets in the long panoramic screen, which is really easy to do and to arrange and customize to your personal liking, so that's quite cool. We've got ambient lighting selectable in a nice way, and driving modes have been modified to be much more common sense, thank God. Now with just personal, sport, efficient and silent. Connect Store allows for app downloads from gaming with their Air console, multiplayer stuff, to video, audio, and of course your favorite, subscription services. But overall, I like the way the front looks. So guys, that's the interior. It's interesting. I think I'm going to miss the driver zone, the dedicated driver zone, which is such a thing for us. I'm not sure about that steering wheel either. I like the material use, etc. But yeah, really need to drive it to see what we think about it in reality. So guys, the iX3, truly the template and the blueprint going forward for, like I said, up to 14 vehicles up till 2027, but in reality, every BMW going forward, assuming this is successful. Best laid plans, as we've seen with EV plans. But yes, that means that pretty much every car, like our updated 3 Series, like we spoke about, the updated 5 that we've already seen running around, and pretty much every car thus is going to be taking cues from this car. And in that sense, BMW are right. It is the biggest transformation since the 1960s Neue Klasse cars. And it's interesting to me that all in the same week, pretty much, Mercedes, BMW and Audi have all gone for this big vertical shift, literally pun intended, vertical shift on the grills and design and ethos all in the same month, all off a very similar retro-inspired playbook, which I find pretty hilarious. But the real question for me is, what do you guys think? Do you think of ultimate driving machine SUV when you look at this or not? I'd love to know what you think. For me, for my final conclusion, I need to see it, I need to drive it, because this is undoubtedly a defining moment for BMW and one that they really, really have to get right. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this VFX preview of the new BMW iX3. If you have, please do like and subscribe to RBR. These videos take a huge amount of effort and a bit of my soul, and I'll see you guys next time.